Vincent! How are you doing this, Vincent? How have you done any of this? We have to go back. It's too late for that. We're close to the other side. What other side? You want to drown us both? You want to know how I did it? This is how I did it, Anton. I never saved anything for the swim back.
And so this is also why it's very important, yet again, I can't stress this enough, you have to reach outside of yourself. You have to go outside, 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 outside. As soon as you start connecting with others, as soon as you start talking to other people, doing things for other people, it heals something inside of you. It's like, oh, good. Because the natural tendency from this past life pattern is to withdraw. It's to go within. It's to shut down and kind of tune the world out, because you've done that a lot. There's been a lot of lifetimes where, you know, spent in either meditation or solitary, you know, time of spirituality. It's like, I don't, you know, so you need to go outside and connect now. And the tendency, though, is to go inside, because it's very easy for you to do that. You know how to do that. You know how to entertain yourself. You know how to basically be okay and fine on your own. But that's not this lifetime. This lifetime, what you're trying to get to is this. And so you do have to use a little bit more critical thinking as well, because the other negative, of course, is that in a lot of the past incarnations, you may have been a victim. And you have to remind yourself, a good mantra, this is not a victim lifetime. This is not a lifetime of victimization, because you probably were. You know, Pisces many times gullible. Tell Pisces gullible isn't in the dictionary, and they'll go, really? You know? Yes. You know, they're true believers. They're true believers. And so part of your natural talent, and this is also why you have a natural healthy skepticism as part of your lifetime. It's a gift that you've been given to help you not fall prey to this again. So that's a good thing. You know, it's actually good for you to use your skills of discernment and to not just fall for anything that comes down the pike. And so in some ways, I would almost say that it's maybe a little counterintuitive, but you don't want to get too deep into any sort of spiritual thought. You don't want to give yourself over to it to the point where you can no longer think critically for yourself. That's very important. That's part of this lifetime. And even with this, it's like, take it as part of a whole, you know, thing as a practice, but don't rely on it heavily. That's just, you know, to me, but that's good common sense. But that's definitely part of your lifetime. The other thing that's great about Virgo is that it is there to serve, it's there to help, and it's there to heal. Virgo rules nutrition, it rules medicine. So that's part of, you know, the whole thing, routines. That's why Virgo, the Virgin, it's purity, right? All about purifying, clarity of mind, clarity of body, eating good foods, taking good care of yourself. These are all very important, you know, having good routines that are healthy for you and for others, because your health will suffer if you don't follow that, and you'll feel it, you'll know it in your stomach. It's like, oh, something's not quite right. If you either ate something you shouldn't have, said something you shouldn't have, gone somewhere you shouldn't have, you'll feel it deep in your gut. So it's interesting, I just want to mention as well, you know, getting into these houses that are not filled, it doesn't mean that you don't have things going on in these areas of your life. It just means that it's not as concentrated, you know, it's just not as heavy of a focus. I would say, you know, so you got Taurus is what rules your relationship house, marriage house. So it's a very solid sign. You know, Taurus is very loyal, and once it's entrenched, doesn't really like to change. It likes to really root. It's very grounded. It's very earthy and stubborn. And it's Venus ruled, so it really does value its relationships very highly. So it's not that you don't have things going on in there. It's just that overall, I think the main focuses of your lifetime are definitely into spiritual awareness and self-identity awareness. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I meant to do? That's a major focus for your life. You know, and it doesn't mean that you don't have other energy in other parts of the you know, experience, but that's a big direction for you. It's like, I gotta get to the root of why I'm here. You're not going to be satisfied till you peel back all those layers.
Okay. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Good evening, everyone. It's been a long time. All right, Mike seems to be working okay. Yeah. Again, my son has been sick since last Thursday. It is now Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, wherever you're at. And he's finally getting better when he's sick. And Roland, if you're watching this in the future, he stays with me at home. And the only way he can really take a good nap is if he's in the car, he falls asleep while I'm driving. Then I pull into the driveway and I wait for him for his nap to finish. Typically, his naps are anywhere from an hour and a half to sometimes even 3 hours. Well, today his nap lasted 5 hours. I was in the car for 5 hours. The engine is on. Here in Columbus, Nebraska, it's 10 degrees. At least it was during the morning / early afternoon. And at the car running and the heater on. 5 hours in the car. That's fun. Usually he would wake up and play, and then we'd go pick up Leela. But he stayed asleep till I went to Leela's elementary school and picked her up. All right, so planning a trip to the magnetic North Pole. I can get into it a little bit more, but I think I kind of want to go over the astrology reading with Ariel. I thought that was great. It was a great reading. That was back then where, I'm skeptical as always, but it was more true than not true. I will say that. The other thing is the quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson is, well, the first one is pretty accurate. The second one is too. The thing is, people's expectations. I've never been one to follow other people's expectations of me. I mean, they're just going to be sorely disappointed. Of course, people who are close to me know that about me. I would say close family. That would be my mom, my brother, my wife, and a few of my childhood friends. Not many, but they're there. I will do what I expect of myself and no one else. People who there's plenty of times where this has happened, where people thought of when I first worked at Microsoft. I was playtesting video games, playing Rise of Nations. That was the game I was playtesting. I was just somebody who people could play with because they had a team of a team lead. He was pretty good, not the best of anything. They had 3 other people. I didn't know at the time, but they were like the best Age of Empires, the first one, and the Age of Empires 1 expansion. Best players, top players, top 3 maybe, top 4 players in Age of Empires. And so they just need a 4th so they could play some 2-on-2 for playtesting. Well, I got pretty good at the game. There's also another team that finished playtesting. They also had a player, I think he was number 2 in the world or something. Anyways, that guy started being on my other playtesting team, and we've already playtested it. He suggested some tweaks to the balance and told him he was wrong. And people, of course, had an expectation of me as, well, I have no credentials to back up being the best, except for beating everyone. I had no prior history of being number one at any game. So, and I told this story plenty of times, but I just thought I'd give a feedback because a lot of people here that watch now didn't watch before. And those who've watched me before, well, they're not watching now. Anyways, so Mayans, that they were the original nation that was overpowered, but the number 2 Age of Empires player in the world, on another team that started to play, he says, yeah, and I've only been playing the game for 2 weeks and I can beat everyone. I'm the best of the game. And of course I hate ego, and the more I usually am not very ambitious. I can be competitive, but I don't care about winning unless I had some spite issues. So if you are going to do something wrong, me, my friends, or coworkers, whatever, I've got some spite where you don't want to mess with me. At any rate, I challenged them and said, all right, play me a game. Put money where your mouth is. So we bet $50 for the game. Everyone thought he would win because, of course, expectations of me. At that point where I'm just some guy that they hired, wasn't the best at any game. And well, I thoroughly beat him with the Mayans. He played Spanish, which I considered the second best nation, and he didn't realize that the Mayans were better. So I played the Mayans and I beat him. First time playing him, really. So I wasn't really sure how he played. So I just, played okay, just kind of see what he did. I watched him play against my coworkers. My coworkers are all tired. We've been playtesting this game for 8 months by then. So I beat him. It was kind of close. I mean, he probably took a city and I took it right back a minute later, and then I beat him. And then everyone, even the lead, not just the lead, but the lead for the whole project, for the whole quality assurance team and development at Microsoft. Yeah, I expected him to win. You know, he's going to say, where does the belt go to? Who's going to own the title? Well, I didn't care about that. I just wanted him to just stop being so arrogant. Thinks he knows everything after playing for 2 weeks, just because he was the number 2 in the world of some tournament or something. Anyways, he goes, okay, double or nothing. I go, okay, double or nothing. So he did the same thing. I played mines, he played the Spanish. And what happened? He didn't take any city. I just kept the game going. And I built ICBMs and I nuked every city of his. And I won the game that way. And then I think he typed in the game chat like asshole or dick or something. I had $100 at the end of the day. He paid me. So that was that. After that, no one said anything. It was pretty quiet around the workplace. The expectations of him beating me thoroughly did not happen. Expectations of me losing thoroughly did not happen. Same thing when I played in the first Rise of Nations tournament. And after that tournament, they wouldn't allow anyone that's ever played, that was associated with Microsoft, to play in any Microsoft-sponsored tournaments. Or any game developers tournaments, because Microsoft is the publisher. So the number 1 player in the world was this Japanese player. Gosh, I can't remember his name right now, but he beat everyone so fast within 15 minutes. I mean, you can even get to the Enlightenment age before he beat you. Of course, he played Spanish. So I played as a Smurf. Well, it wasn't really a Smurf because it was just a really old game account that I usually used, which is Scrubs. Rather than El Capitan, which is the gaming tag I was using after that. Or maybe it was the other way around. Anyways. This guy was so good, he beat everyone. He was in the finals easily. Same with me. Everyone used Spanish pretty much. I used Mayans. So I played against him as the Mayans. He was the Spanish, and I won the first game. It's best out of 3. And everyone was like, whoa, who is this guy? He beat this guy. So we played again, rematch. This time, I mean, this guy was good. He played as the Mayans and I was the Mayans. He just did the exact thing that I did to him. The only thing is I played enough of the game. He was really close to beating me. But I kind of took advantage of a way to win the game, which is to build wonders by victory points. So I built wonders and I won the game that way. He even nuked me a couple times, but that didn't dampen... he didn't have ICBMs to destroy my wonders by the time I finished with a wonder victory. Anyways, and I ended up winning that tournament, and I think it was only $500. Maybe it was $1,500. I forget. It was a decent tournament. Good money, I guess. Anyways, that was for video games. I played basketball, pickup basketball, a lot of pickup basketball. Another good moment is the expectations of me with a team of 4 and against other team of 4, and of course if you play a lot of street basketball, you have a lot of people who played high school ball, even college ball, and they're very serious about pickup games because especially if it's winner stays, because you don't want to lose in a pickup basketball game when there's 4 other teams waiting, because you're going to wait for an hour and a half for the next game. So typically I get to the court, they see me short. I'm not that short. I'm like 5'7", 5'8". But you know, considering in basketball that's pretty short. And I go, hey, I'm next in line. I'm trying to form a team. Most people know I got a team. I'm gonna wait with them next game, after my game or something, because I'm next. So I find other people. So I found a person who was there's one that was a woman. I think she was probably like college level basketball player. Of course, she's playing with men's basketball. She was that tall. I'd say she was maybe 6 foot, more of a forward type player. And then I have there's a scrawny white kid who's probably 6'2", but he probably weighed the same as me, and I'm 5'7". And there's a black kid. He's probably 5'10", skinny too. He wore glasses. He's pretty nerdy looking. He wasn't really that physical. So 4 of us against probably high school varsity players or college players, ex-college players, the typical athletic black kids, Hispanic kids, white kids. So we play, we're on the court, and people are kind of like laughing. It's like it's gonna be a joke. And well, we beat the team that won like 3 in a row, and they go, "Oh, we're tired." So we play next game. We beat that team. The team after that, we play that team. We play the team that we beat before the first game that won 3 in a row. We beat them again. No one expected us to win. We won. It was great. It was great. Great feeling to surpass other people's expectations. People who, I guess, wondering how I succeed. I've only got a high school diploma, folks, and my last job was about 150 grand a year with a bonus. 3.5 weeks of paid vacation, you know, good stuff. And really easy, very corporate, very big, AIG corporate company. They don't like change. I could build all these prototypes and suggest how to make things better and cheaper and done right, and they don't care. They really don't. They don't care. I could probably just take it easy and done everything manually, even though it took time, you know, have issues coming across all the time, all these bugs. They don't care, as long as I'm doing what they say. But then, of course, there will be bugs. And they're going to be like, hey, why are there bugs? And I tell them, well, because there's only so much we can do with manual testing. At any rate, the expectations of others, you're going to never live up to them. And if you do live up to some of them because of the expectations of others towards you may be so low, I think I'm going to say, hey, yeah, you didn't expect anything out of him at all. At any rate, let's keep going. Let's go to what I'm wanting to do, and let's go to desktop 1. So I'm going to play this video. This is Martin Kenny, as above so below, as within so without. Interesting video. I should give it a like. I'm not going to play all of it. If you want to go watch it, you can watch it before. I'm going to go over the swastika later, and I'm going to go over the magnetic North Pole. And just the North Pole in general, because there's different locations of the pole itself, North Pole, if you did not know that. Also, the Earth is flat, just so you know. And that's why this is important. And we'll get to that later as well. So here we go.
Have you ever wondered why we have 4 seasons in our year? Or why we have 4 cardinal points, north, south, east and west? Why is a leap year every 4 years? Why are there 4 parts in a day? Sunrise, sunset, midday and midnight. How about the fact that our moon has 4 phases that occur every 4 weeks? Why 4? Coincidence? Maybe. But consider this. Human beings have 4 limbs, 2 arms and 2 legs, 4 fingers and a thumb, 4 toes and a thumb. Did you know humans have 4 canine teeth and 4 wisdom teeth? How about the 4 main human blood types? A positive, B positive, AB positive and O positive. Speaking of blood, did you know that our blood is made up of 4 main components? Plasma, white blood cells, platelets and red blood cells? What about our hearts that pump this blood? Also divided into 4 chambers. The right atrium, the left atrium, the right ventricle and the left ventricle. Even human bodily tissue is divided into 4 types: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle and nervous tissue. Our brains, yep, also divided into 4 main sections: the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe and the temporal lobe. Did you know that all DNA is made up of 4 base elements? Adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. What about the fact that humans have 5 sensory organs and functions? 4 of them localized to the head area: mouth to taste, nose to smell, ears for hearing, eyes for vision. The 5th sense being skin to feel, of course. But get this, did you know our skin has 4 main receptors that respond to touch, pressure, cold, heat and pain? Not forgetting the 4 main senses of taste: sweet, sour, salty and bitter. Now, earlier on I spoke about our 4 moons phases: the waxing phase, the waning phase, the full moon phase and the new moon phase. But how about the fact that all women on earth at some point in their lives experience menstrual cycles which are affected by these 4 weekly cycles of the moon? Even more interestingly, a menstrual cycle itself happens in 4 stages: the bleeding stage, the follicular stage, the ovulatory stage and the luteal stage. I know, crazy, right? But there's more. What about the 4 basic components needed for organic life to survive within our realm? Proteins, lipids, nucleic acids and carbohydrates? Or our 4 base states of matter? Solids, liquids, gases and plasma. Not forgetting, of course, our 4 main greenhouse gases: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen. Is it not interesting that every single flying insect on Earth has 4 wings? Except for flies, that is. What about the metamorphic 4 stages of an insect's life cycle? The egg stage, the larva stage, the pupa stage and the adult stage. Or the 4 stages of a cell's mitosis. I'll let you look that one up for yourselves. Even in mathematics, we all know that there are 4 basic principles: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. 4 is the number of the square. Our 3-dimensional reality is built on 4-sided structures. 4-sided bricks that build 4 corner rooms, which make up 4-sided houses. 4-sided tables. 4-sided sheets of paper, books, screens, cars, etc., etc. Even the very core structure of our physical sciences is primarily divided into 4: chemistry, physics, biology and mathematics. I'm sure you can now see the divine syncretic pattern of 4 within our physical, everyday reality. 4 is everywhere and in everything, even embedded within the fabric of our collective cultures on Earth. For instance, is it not interesting that 4 is the only number in the English language that is equal to the number of letters in its name? The number 4, or the word 4, has 4 letters. Or isn't it also interesting that of all the words listed as vulgar in the English dictionary, exactly half are 4-lettered words? I won't repeat them though. What about the 4 universal primary colors: red, yellow, green and blue? Even in religion, this rule of 4 is not exempt. For instance, did you know that in Judeo-Christian faith, the Hebrew word for God is a 4-letter word known as the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, Y-A-H-W? Or that in Islam, there are 4 main books: the Torah, the Zabur, the Injil and the Quran? And even in Vedic Hinduism, there are also 4 main books: the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, the Yajur Veda and the Atharva Veda. What about the 4 noble truths in Buddhism: Dukkha, Samadaya, Nirodha and Magga? Not forgetting, of course, the 4 main Gospels of Jesus in the Christian Bible: Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. What about the 4 corners of the earth spoken of in the Bible? The 4 winds of the earth, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in the book of Revelations, or the 4 ages of man? 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Why 4?
Time evolves and comes to a place where it renews again.
I've been running from my life, all to the place where I can see that beautiful sunrise. And I've reached inside so many souls, just trying to find some kind of home. But now I realize, and I completely see, that we're caught up in this matrix.
Because they forgot the instructions on how to live on Earth.
Oh, my eyes, they see everything. All the pain and atrocities. Insanity, it seems to be. That we are prisoners of ourselves. 'Cause we will never be free with that mentality. But now I realize, and I completely see, it's never been outside of us. It's always been inside of me.
Alright, so you can go and watch the rest of that if you want. That was just half of the video. And what I picked up on this, I mean, interesting tidbits there. I always thought primary colors were 3 as well, not 4, like 2 different types of primary colors. At any rate, here we go. This map is called, and I had to do some looking up. Let's see, I just typed in 1587 Flat Earth Map. And it got me here to the David Rumsey map collection. And what's interesting is once you click on it, and I have the link in the description box. If you see a description box, it's there. It says here it's the largest early world map. Monte's 10-foot planisphere of 1587. I never knew about this. I thought that was pretty cool that there was the first world map. They put it together and it's 10 feet squared. 10 feet by 10 feet. That is a big map. So at 10 foot square, this map or planisphere is the largest known early map of the world. It was hand drawn by Monte in Milan, Italy, and only one other manuscript copy exists. The digitally joined 60 sheet map image below, and this map is just they took all the 60 pages of the book and put them together digitally so we can actually go ahead and look through it. And if you go through the entire thing, there's snippets and explanations and zoomed in parts of the images. And I will probably use this partly to get me an early grasp of where I would need to start if I was going to go to magnetic North Pole. Now, of course, there's other research too involved. What basically the first thing that I would need to do in part 1, where I'm going to start, where it most likely might be, and I would just have to find a compass to get there. And well, see how long it would take. Hopefully the trip back is easier, because if I find something there, well, that I'm hoping is that might be out there, well, maybe the trip back might be easier. If not, well, hopefully I know enough to find my way out of there. I would just have to head. I have to figure it out. And at any rate, let's see. If we want to go and zoom this around, seems like, of course, the Mercator map that there is. Where should I show the Mercator map? Did I put it here anywhere? Let's see. I guess I lost it. All right. Well, the Mercator map is what I would also use. I'll have to use a lot of maps, old maps, it seems like. Great thing about this is you can actually, when you zoom in, it'll clear up the detail, and you could go ahead and rotate it around. Of course, same thing you could do if you just download it, which I have. And you can see there's Mexico, Gulf of Mexico there. Of course, this is going to be America, Mexico, South America, Europe, and Africa, and Asia. There are certain parts where it's like incognito, so I guess that means they don't know what's there yet. They haven't explored it. And there's more gaps here, which seems to be from the Canada, mid Canada and West Canada. Once you get up to, I think this is Nova Scotia, it gets a little bit closer to there. But if you're actually in Europe, you like in Greenland, and you're actually, where's that? Is that Greenland? What is that? Terra Verde. That's weird. I never. Is that Greenland? That's Iceland? That's probably. I don't know. That's. It doesn't line up with the globe map, obviously, that well, because the globe map would not really show you this. Let me find the Mercator map somewhere. I know I have it. I just didn't line it up anywhere. Let's see. And for North Pole. Okay, here we go. Here's the Mercator map. This is direct download, I think, from even Wikipedia. And this is kind of a. I think it's layout. It's after the Monte map, the map I was just showing people. This is Asia, North America. This is Greenland, and Europe, Scandinavia at least, and the closest. There's something. Yeah, it's kind of same here in the map there. That island. Let's look back at that island, and. Oops, where was I? Here we go. This island here, Terra Verde here, is, gosh, where did it go? Is that, oh, here we go. Sorry. It's called Grokshant? I've never heard of that. Of course, if you go to Google Earth, you'll see that Google Earth, the North Pole looks like it's just underwater. But then if you see videos of geographic North Pole, you'll see that it's just on top of snow, ice and snow. So we'll go over that later. So there's supposedly 4 lands, 4 rivers dividing those lands, very much like a swastika. And let's see, where can I find it? And of course, if you see my new artwork on video on the YouTube or anywhere else, you'll see the swastika. Let's go ahead and show you the swastikas. These are all the swastikas. There's probably more. This is just kind of the one that was out there and easy to see. And you wonder, what's up with all these swastikas around the world? And you know what? I should probably show a video about the swastikas. I'm jumping all over the place, folks, for maps and swastikas, and well, hopefully it all makes sense eventually, maybe, hopefully. Now the video that I wanted to show, I don't know if I got it ready or not, so we'll just kind of go over a well, let's see, origin of swastika. That's kind of what I put in Google. And of course, the origin in Sanskrit is good being or well-being. It's from Suasti, and then Svastika, and then swastika in late 19th century of how we say it. Well-being or good being. And I went to Ancient Origins. There's an article here. And again, it's in the description box. This one says it's 12,000 years old. That's how long it dates where the swastika originated. And of course, everybody in America and probably Germany just associated with Adolf Hitler's Nazi party. So it says here, the swastika is a symbol that was used in the 20th century by one of the most hated men ever to have lived, a symbol that now represents the slaughter of millions of people in one of the most destructive wars on earth. But Adolf Hitler was not the first to use this symbol. In fact, it was used as a positive and powerful symbol thousands of years before him across many cultures and continents. Spiritual beginning for the swastika. For the Hindus and Buddhists in India and other Asian countries, the swastika was an important symbol for many thousands of years, and to this day, the symbol can still be seen in abundance on temples, buses, taxis, and on the covers of books. It was also used in ancient Greece and Rome and can be found in remains of the ancient city of Troy, which existed 4,000 years ago. The ancient Druids and Celts also used the symbol, reflected in many artifacts that have been discovered. It was used by Nordic tribes, and even early Christians used the swastika as one of their symbols, including the Teutonic Knights, a German medieval military order which became a purely religious Catholic order. But why is this symbol so important, and why did Adolf Hitler decided to use it? A swastika is a symbol found in many cultures with different meanings drawn in different styles. Positive days of the swastika. The word swastika is a Sanskrit word, svastika meaning it is, well-being, good existence, and good luck. However, it is also known by different names in different countries, like Wan in China, Manji in Japan, Fiflot in England, Hakenkreuz, I don't know if I'm saying that right, in Germany, and Tetraskelion or Tetragrammaton in Greece. That right here is the mosaic swastika, an excavated Byzantine church in Shavazian, or Israel. In 1979, a Sanskrit scholar P.R. Sarkar said that the deeper meaning of the word is permanent victory. He also said that like any symbol, it can have positive and negative meaning depending on how it is drawn. So in Hinduism, the right hand swastika illustrated below is the symbol of the god Vishnu and the sun, while the left hand swastika is the symbol of Kali and magic. The Doma meaning of symbols is common in ancient traditions, like the example of the symbol of the pentagram, five-pointed star, which is viewed as negative when pointed downwards and positive when pointing upwards. And I'm pretty sure many of you understand the everything is being inverted and perverted. Okay, 12,000 years of symbolism. The earliest swastika ever found was uncovered in Mazin, Ukraine, carved on an ivory figurine which dates back an incredible 12,000 years. One of the earliest cultures that are known to have used the swastika was a Neolithic culture in southern Europe, in the area that is now Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, and Herzegovina, also known as the Vinca culture, which dates back around 8,000 years. So this is a swastika pattern on a mammoth bone bracelet from Mazin. In Buddhism, the swastika is a symbol of good fortune, prosperity, abundance, and eternity. It is directly related to Buddha and can be found carved on statues on the soles of his feet and on his heart. It is said that it contains Buddha's mind. On the walls of the Christian catacombs in Rome, the symbol of the swastika appears next to the word Zotico, which means life of life. It can also be found on the window openings of the mysterious Lalibela rock churches of Ethiopia and in various other churches around the world. Alright, left, the Samara Bowl of the Pergamon Museum, Berlin, and the swastika in the center of the design is a reconstruction. Right, finding the cemetery of ancient Thera, 8th to 7th century BC. And in Nordic myths, Odin is represented passing through space as a whirling disc or swastika, looking down through all worlds. In North America, the swastika was used by the Navajos. In ancient Greece, Pythagoras used the swastika under the name Tetrectus, and it was symbol linking heaven and earth with the right arm pointing to heaven and its left arm pointing to earth, just like as above, so below. It has been used by the Phoenicians as a symbol of the sun, and it was a sacred symbol used by the priestesses. And here it is, the swastika, the Phoenician sun symbol on the Phoenician Craignagat stone in Scotland and on the robe of a Phoenician high priestess. How and why did so many diverse countries and cultures across many eras use the same symbol and apparently with the same meaning? It is ironic and unfortunate that a symbol of life and eternity that was considered sacred for thousands of years has become a symbol of hatred. And we're going to see that a lot, I'm sure, in the near future. So this is a good article by John Black at the ancientorigins.net. Now, I'm going to segue, and because, well, it seems to me it always goes down to, why do I do the things that I do? And most of the time it's because no one else is doing them. Someone has to. And all right, so I want to look at, well, let's look at the North Pole. Let's see what it looks like. And then of course you would think that there'd be a lot of videos. I mean, obviously it can't be that hard, because this 14-year-old was the youngest person to ski to the North Pole from anywhere outside the last degree. And so this is, let's see, where did it go? Not that, yeah, right here. So that's the lady who probably went to the geographic North Pole. I don't know if there's video of it or not. No one who verified it. Pretty good, I guess, even at the geographic North Pole. And let's see, there's another video here at, sorry, North Pole. Awesome Arctic flight to the North Pole 2016. Actually, let's see. I want to see if there's any video. Okay, you can see it in this video. That's the North Pole. I mean, does a photo count? Does that, I mean, can I just put, I could go outside and just snow-covered area and say it's North Pole. I mean, is there more? There's got to be video. I mean, this is very good photos. Obviously there's someone else with her, unless she sets up the camera work herself, and her carrying all that. I don't think she can go alone. Did she go alone? But if she can go alone, 14 years old, I have a feeling I could do it at the age of 40. Okay, she didn't go alone. Well, geographic North Pole, I guess you could listen to this. I might give it a try. I tried. I couldn't do it. And then here there's a flight to the North Pole, and I think it's the geographic one. And they just, of course, you just have to take it on their word that they are filming the North Pole by the pilot. It's like, how would anyone else know? They've never seen the North Pole. And if they go to the North Pole all the time, they go, oh, that's the same North Pole I went to last time, where the pilot told me they were at the North Pole. And seems like there's really nothing to see. And there's a couple of people that have been at the North Pole, the geographic North Pole. See, at the North Pole, there were, you know, here's one for the South Pole. The thing is, they just take a picture of wherever that latitude is. It's probably geographic South Pole, but then, you know, it's South. If you're a flat earther, South Pole is just a ring of ice. If you're a globe, it's supposedly where the opposite of the compass points, which would be south. Compass never points south, even as close as you get to the South Pole. You would think that the South Pole would just be, even if it's not as strong as the North Pole, it would have magnetic capabilities, but you would never see the compass point south. I mean, it would have been great if they would have just showed you a compass that was pointing north and show it where it's pointing south. But, you know, if you're at the point where, what is this guy, flat earth and South Pole doesn't exist, well, you got a lot of catching up to do. Sorry about that. So North Pole, well, I couldn't really find it and what's harder is anyone at the magnetic North Pole. There's no one's been to the magnetic North Pole. I guess someone's got to have been there. So I do a couple of Google searches instead of YouTube. Maybe there's videos outside of YouTube, but YouTube's big. So many people put videos out on YouTube. But really, there is no video of someone going to the magnetic North Pole. There's someone who flies over and says, hey, compass goes crazy over North Pole. And this is one. And talks about how it's just his compass is going crazy, but he relies on the GPS and other things. And he doesn't have to rely on an actual magnetic compass. And this is the Weather Channel. Not going to play it back. Weather Channel is very bad at shutting down my live streams. So, yeah. Another person, Mike Horn, magnetic North Pole. I think he was in one of these results. Went to the magnetic North Pole, or at least attempted to. It's called Pangea Project, expedition number 8 to the North Pole. I tried looking over for it because if I just do a search of North Pole, the latest one is this one 7 years ago. So I'm going, okay, what happened? So I looked through the video, and this is just a different video. This is the actual video. And you don't see North Pole, you see them going through it. And what happens if you go to the blog, because I wanted to see pictures or videos of them at the magnetic North Pole, because it would be pretty cool, right? Because no one else seems to have gone to the magnetic North Pole. At least there's no results. You would think someone has gone to the magnetic North Pole. No one's been there. It's 2019. We have incredible technology, yet no video of anyone being at the magnetic North Pole on the ground. So this is in May 15th at the mycorn.com. Day 17. They didn't last past 17 days. And I'm going to read exactly what happened. May 15, 2011. Mike Horn and the team are now back in Resolute, reunited with the rest of the team. Stunning photos and blogs are in. Enjoy finding out about the amazing experiences. This is a blog written by Felix, 12/05/2011. That sound of packing ice still echoes in my head. The sound of nature that would come along with Mike's voice. Go back fast. The expression on my face would change this fast. That's adrenaline could be pumped into my veins. We're standing in the middle of the spectacular show of a thin ice sheet packing. A show not at all meant for man to witness. The terrain would change from one moment to another, resulting in wide open water leads and stacks of ice sheets piled above each other. Never before have I felt this insignificant, this helpless, this completely wrong in place in time. Little did I know about what I was going to live through back yesterday when we set off to tackle our last chance of reaching latitude 80, the magnetic North Pole. The day before, the first group of young explorers had already arrived safely back in Resolute when a snowstorm approached and prevented the Twin Otter from returning to our position to lift the remaining 6 of us back to base as well. We were stuck in the tent and had to wait for the storm to pass. Soon it became clear that this is not how the end will be written. We come here onto the Arctic Sea ice to learn not how to accept failure, but how to fight for our goals in life. We had sufficient supply and fuel, and we had ambition and desire to go. In unity, we decided yesterday to head off north and to face the challenge of covering 95 kilometers in just 3 days. We had to give it a try. We pulled off right away, 34 kilometers in 12 hours skiing, which made the longest day of the expedition. We have witnessed a great variety of terrain, from flat icy plains in the morning to pack ice to open water leads in the evening. The same morning, Mike already knew about the possibility of meeting open water due to some scattered dark clouds that lay in front of us. All these details, including reading the snow drifts for navigation and in analyzing cloud patterns, have an essential role for the Arctic explorer. I realized very quickly that experience in Arctic exploration is the ultimate key to survival and progress, which might be a reason for why Mike is the expedition leader and not me. We set up camp to call it the day just in front of the open water, hoping that during the night it will freeze over so that we could ski over it the next day, just as we were talking about. Actually, I should zoom this in, sorry. It was already happening. In total contrast to how we had arrived at the campsite just 2 hours later, an ice wall of 2 meters height has already formed next to our tents. Wow, nature always holds the biggest surprises ready for us. That night we slept with our outer shells ready to move the tent at any time in case of packing ice beneath our tents. Next day, we woke up at 4 a.m., set off just about an hour later. We were ready for another long day of skiing in order to reach the pole within the scheduled time frame of the expedition, but Mother Nature always has her own plans. Not so long after we headed off north, we ran into a big obstacle, a thin ice area as far as the eye could see. This was exactly what we were afraid of. This was an obstacle that was very well able to force us to abort the expedition once and for all. I'd like to look at pictures and videos of this part of how bad it was. I don't think we will get to see that. At that stage, we were standing on an island of solid ice surrounded by thin ice. Mike unhooked himself from his sled to go ahead to check the situation. Enemy and Dimitri, our expedition photographer, followed him. I wanted to see for myself. If not absolutely necessary, I won't give up easily. The three of us left the island of solid ice and soon found my skis on top of the sheet of thin ice. I was doing exactly what Mike was doing, so I still felt safe and good, but when the moment came, the ice beneath our skis started to move, accompanied by the sound of horror and Mike's expression changing instantly. My heart stopped beating. Back, back, fast. It's not until this very moment that I realized the danger of the Arctic sea ice, its fear of having nothing at all to stand on. The whole packing process is just like the Earth's tectonic movement in a smaller and much faster scale. Any second, the thin ice beneath my skis could split apart and welcome me to a deadly bath in 4,000 meters deep Arctic Ocean, or could pack and crush everything that is in between. I can still hear Mike behind me shouting to get me to go faster. If we split apart from the rest of the team at this stage, we would have had to swim back to the solid ice. And if the situation wasn't intense enough, my left ski got stuck between the pack ice. Luckily, that ice didn't pack and crush my ski, and I managed with Dima and Mike to get back on safe ground. Looking behind us, the thin ice that carried our body weight just a few seconds ago was no longer the same. As I'm right now sitting in warm and safe tent, reflecting back upon the day, I am convinced that we did a wise decision by turning back south. I reached 79 degrees and 30 minutes north, the furthest north reached by any expedition from Canada this year, and in fact the northernmost point of the entire Pangea expedition. We have had a full-on Arctic experience in the past 2 weeks, from pack ice and desert plains to open water and thin ice. I learned that when traveling on the Arctic Ocean, it's not only the will, but furthermore it's the terrain that decides what distance you can cover, and if nature tells you to stop, you better stop. It's like Mike and Borg Osling used to say, the Arctic Ocean is dangerous. We've got as far up north as we have possibly could, and we have no regrets left on the ice. We are ready to go back whenever the twin arrives. So this was day 17. I would think they would have made it in day 20 or 21. So I'd say for a solo trip, it would take about maybe faster, I would say. If things are going well, if things aren't going well, maybe it could take twice as long. So maybe 40 days, a month and a half, 5 weeks. I think 5 weeks is a good estimate. 10 weeks total. So I'd say 10 days at best, at worst, almost a month and a half. So that's what I'm going to base my time on. So the North Pole, world of travel. I don't know if they... Oh, you can see some pictures of people, or video of people being at the North Pole. I don't think it's the North Pole, magnetic North Pole. It's just probably just the geographic North Pole. Yeah. It says here, the world of travel. North Pole, also known as the geographic North Pole or terrestrial North Pole. So that's where they are at. Let me just pick this spot on the map. That's 90 degrees latitude, and therefore that's North Pole. But magnetic North Pole is not the geographic North Pole. You don't believe me? You don't believe in the truthers, the flat earthers? Well, what about National Geographic? I'm going to play a snippet. They're probably going to block my live stream for just playing this.
At the center, in a mass of sea ice, lies the North Pole. The geographic North Pole is different from magnetic north, which directs compasses and actually lies south of true north. Above the Arctic Circle, daylight.
There you go, from the horse's mouth. There's been other places that are looking at the North Pole. Big teams have gotten to, obviously, the geographic North Pole. I haven't seen this in the magnetic North Pole, or a video where someone's just kind of walking around. Hey, this is the magnetic North Pole. Look at the compass doing weird things. Just like that flight of that person who's flying the plane. Right. I wanted to stop saying at any rate. But at any rate, that is pretty much the whole thing. I've just kind of been looking over the map, and a lot of the expeditions have been going from Canada. And I would think, or at least you would think people would say it's one of these islands here. If these are islands not represented. So in esoteric circles, the islands there, once you pass the mountain, the Arctic Sea, and you pass certain mountains, it's nice and warm. It's not cold at all. And the sun's furthest away from there, but somehow it stays warm. Interesting. That'd be interesting to find out. I was thinking it'd be easier for me to get there from maybe North Alaska, but from these old maps, it doesn't seem like magnetic North Pole would be the best place to start in Alaska. Greenland seems to be the closest to any of these lands. Even with Greenland here, I think traveling the Arctic Sea is going to be tough. Once I reach ice, that's probably the best bet. So the other thing is whether I go in the summer. In the summer, there should be more light. Most of the permanent should be light all day. If I go during the winter, of course, it's going to be a lot colder. It's going to be dark all day. So I have a feeling it will be during the summer. But then that's also battling a lot more thinner ice that might be out there. A lot of melting ice. If the sun's going to be out there warming, most likely. So I think I'd have to go during the summer. I think summer might be the best time. And let's see, I just kind of like looking at this place. You can actually download it. You don't have to buy a print. You can export it. And if you click on export, like large is 3072 pixels, and you could even the smaller ones, they have extra large up to 12,288 pixels if you want to just get the individual pages of the map that was drawn by Monte. And it's pretty incredible, right? Big map like that, and having to rely in 2019 a map from 1587, ridiculous. And from 1587 to 2019, not one video of magnetic North Pole on the ground with a video of it. And of course, I think if you're at the North Pole with the big magnetic, the strength of it, I guess, at ground zero, probably couldn't do a video, right? Probably couldn't do a photo. But if that's the case, how did the plane, where is it? Yeah, how did this plane shoot this video? This is Weather Channel, where the compass goes crazy. Obviously, maybe the magnetic pole doesn't affect other instrumentation. It doesn't affect the plane itself. It's not that strong. It doesn't affect the plane. The plane is made out of metal. It doesn't affect any of the other instruments, just the compass. It doesn't affect the camera that's recording this video as it's flying over North Pole. So North Pole isn't obviously that strong. So why is it so hard to get there? Why? Obviously taking a video is tough because they've done it. And I don't think so. There's a lot of excuses why you can't get to the magnetic North Pole. 2019, we got, think of the biggest technological achievement. Hey, we landed on the moon, right? No, we didn't. But hey, let's say we landed on the moon. Obviously, it's getting to the North Pole and landing there with a human, whether in a spacesuit or not. It should be easier than going hundreds of thousands of miles to the moon, landing on it, and coming back safely. How many times in a row? At least 5 times in a row. I mean, 100% landing on the moon, 0% landing on magnetic North Pole. Okay, so that's it for the stream. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted. I wanted to know how long it would take to get to the magnetic North Pole. No one's tried a solo journey, and it all probably depends on where you start. Now, there's other things I need to factor in, and I'll figure out that in different days, but this one, it'll probably take 10 days at best if I'm fast and I'm on my own and everything goes right, or it can take probably 5 weeks at worst. Things don't go right, weather is bad, and that's just the trip there. The trip back is gonna be twice either of those, so at worst 10 weeks. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully someone's got some info. Hopefully I can get more info. There's a couple of interviews that I've been asking to people to do an interview with. I don't know if that'll happen or not, and we'll see. All right, thank you for joining me, and have a good night.